The walls are closing in. That's what the media and the Democrats said repeatedly during President Trump's first term, when he was the target of the Russia collusion hoax. Well, unfortunately for them, the walls are indeed closing in, but this time, they're closing in on the perpetrators of that hoax. No, this isn't just wishful thinking. You can tell it's actually happening. You can tell the deep state is worried and panicked based on ex-CIA Director John Brennan's reaction when he was confronted about the letter from the intelligence community claiming that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation.
Why didn't you know on the Hunter Biden letter? Why say it? Because I did it. And you misrepresented that. We never said it was disinformation. We said it was Russian influence operations, which is what they do. There's a big difference between influence operations. No, you don't know that.
Yes,
you don't know. Comey knew.
The literature said it had all the hallmarks of, I believe.
Oh boy. John Brennan either has some deep-seated anger issues, or Thomas Speciale, who confronted him, hit some buttons that ticked off Brennan. We'll get to, so this actually happened backstage. We'll get to that later in the video. Basically, there was this question and answer session, and Brennan was on stage alongside two other signatories of that intelligence community letter, and Speciale called him out on stage, and Brennan also had a meltdown there. But why the instant rise to anger and aggression? Why put your finger in someone else's chest? If you truly are innocent, why not just explain your perspective, lay out the facts? The fact that he got so angry, it really seemed like an overreaction, and I feel like that's because he knows he is in deep trouble. He knows that the Trump administration is actually following the rule of law, and that he is indeed surrounded by walls that are closing in. What's really funny here, and funny is maybe not the right word, but John Brennan says, oh, we never claimed it was mis and disinformation. We claimed it was an influence campaign. Brennan, you, alongside 50 other intelligence community officials, signed this letter, and you never once used the word influence operations. Again and again and again, you referred to mis and disinformation. Right here, a few of us worked against Russian information operations in the United States in the last several years. Why did you say that? Because you wanted to raise your credibility so that people would take this letter seriously. You did not say Russian influence operations. No, you said Russian information operations. It is for all these reasons that we write to say that the arrival on the U.S. political scene of emails purportedly belonging to Vice President Biden's son Hunter, much of it related to his time serving on the board of the Ukrainian gas company Burisma, has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Again, it's not a Russian influence operation. By the way, how would Russia influence our elections? Oh yeah, they would influence it through mis and disinformation. It's the vehicle, it's the mechanism through which they do that. Sure, there are other mechanisms like outright hacking machines and stuff like that. But come on, Brennan, you're not that dumb. You don't become the, well, now ex-CIA director without having more than 2 brain cells in your head. Again, Brennan, from the very same letter that you signed, this middle line here, dumping of accurate information or the distribution of inaccurate or misinformation. On top of that, you even quoted the USA Today. Federal authorities are investigating whether the material supplied to the New York Post by Rudy Giuliani is part of a smoke bomb of disinformation pushed by Russia. So time and time again, you referenced mis and disinformation in your own letter. Now you're claiming, oh, we never claimed that. It's in, presumably, something that you read and signed on to. I don't know about you, but I am sure to read everything whenever I'm signing my name onto something. Now, sure, whenever I'm like logging onto a social media site and, you know, you do the thing where you log in through Google or Facebook, I don't always read the terms and conditions. I mean, who has time to read like all 5,000 of those words? But we pretty much get the gist of what we're doing, right? John Brennan, as the ex-CIA director, he should know better. When you reach that level in government, you know everything you're signing on to. Even if he doesn't read it himself, I'm sure he has staffers who summarize the main points to him. So either he had no idea what he signed on to, or he's panicking because he knows, yes, the walls are closing in, and this anger is an outward manifestation of that frustration that he's been caught, and there is apparently no escape for him. Well, as I referenced earlier, he was confronted on stage. This happened by Thomas Speciale, who, by the way, Thomas Speciale was also in the intelligence community. He was a whistleblower in part of this whole situation. So he actually has some skin in the game. Well, the video I'm about to show you comes from this video, and you'll notice it's a little grainy. And the reason that is because I wanted to show a zoomed in version where you can see John Brennan's body language, because I think it says a lot about how he's feeling. He really is squirming, and you can tell he's really anxious in his chair. Now, as I also referenced, he's on stage. Two of the other people on this stage also signed that intelligence community letter. Now, some of you may be wondering, who is Thomas Speciale? Why should I care what he has to say? According to the New York Post, Speciale is a 30-year career Army intelligence officer and was an intelligence strategist at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence at the time the Russiagate intelligence assessment was cooked up. So he knew what he was talking about when he laid out the damning facts. Now let's take a look at what happened before Speciale confronted Brennan backstage.
There was an email that went around from General Clapper to yourself and Hayden. I'm sorry, not Hayden.
That's right.
Yourself and Comey, etc., that basically said we all got to get on board with this, otherwise it isn't going to work, basically. And I think that email puts everybody in the crosshairs. I would like to hear what your justification was for supporting the dossier that was known to be false being used as source material in the second ICA.
I don't know who put you up to this.
Nobody put me up to this, sir. I'm here on my own.
I don't know what role you played or who you are, but it's a bunch of bullshit that you just passed. Absolutely.
Clear, sir.
Bullshit.
The emails are clear.
Bullshit.
The emails are clear. The second question.
No,
Next.
I think we're going to go.
Next.
Is the
Look, we can talk about it. Talk about it in the reception.
Russian disinformation.
No, we didn't say
No,
that. Get the
didn't.
facts
You
straight.
said it was likely Russian disinformation.
No, we did not. We said
Yes,
it.
you did.
No.
In that memo,
Read the
it says
letter.
that
I'm
you
ignoring
signed
it.
it.
Okay.
And I just I know I'm going to get uninvited
Yeah.
to the after hours.
No,
Nobody
no,
put me up to this.
you're
I'm
done.
on my own.
Come on. All right, we're going to go over here.
This is disinformation.
Let's go over here for a
Nobody won't be
question.
able to answer the question.
Thank you very much.
Well, Brennan was caught lying right there. I get he's not under oath, but I showed you clips of that letter that he signed. I mean, it clearly talks about Russian disinformation, misinformation. Nowhere, I mean, sure, if they use the word influence, it's referring to the influence that disinformation is going to have. He surely cannot be this dense. I think he's arrogant. He definitely seems arrogant and pompous whenever he's on MSNBC, and I think he's just now flustered that he's being called out. I think he's angry at social media. I think he's angry that DNI Tulsi Gabbard has now released some of it unredacted, formally confidential information. I think he's really livid about all of that. By the way, so you heard there Thomas Speciale referenced that letter from Clapper, or that email from Clapper. Part of it here, I mean, you can see it was addressed to people, including Brennan, but on top of that, it's essential that we, CIA, NSA, FBI, etc., be on the same page. And basically, what he's calling is for everyone to unite. And he actually says in the email, we may have to compromise on our normal modalities. This is one team, or one project that has to be a team sport. I'm not going to get into this again because I've spent multiple videos going through all of the, newly unclassified, declassified information, and it's just, it's mind-blowing. You have all of this. It's a paper trail, basically saying that they violated their own standards. They violated their own procedures. None of it met the threshold of what is usually required, and yet they went along with this. And whenever there was any pushback, as you saw there, we have to play together. This is a team sport. We can't negotiate on this. Everyone has to be singing the same melody from the same sheet music. It really is a shame. Well, at the very least, I do think that John Brennan is going to face charges for perjury. Maybe, hopefully, it'll be a lot more. But before we get to that, I would like to acknowledge the members of today's Governor's Club. They are Gus Selk, Kevin Nicombe, Devin Dua, and Exploring with Ben and Sam. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are here and that you enjoy the videos. And Gus, that was very generous of you, so thank you. Well, as referenced earlier, according to the New York Post, Miranda Devine, ex-CIA Chief John Brennan may have opened himself up to perjury charges over Trump-Russia hoax. Now, this specifically is where he's accused, and I for legal purposes, I'm going to say accused, but you can draw your own conclusions, of lying to Congress.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
because we didn't. It wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Okay, so under oath to Congress, he says they did not use the dossier at all. Unfortunately for them, again, thanks to DNI and Tulsi Gabbard, we have their own words against them. So this is in one of the email correspondences. Shelby believes this should be responded to by the NIC, as the dossier was a factor in the 2017 ICA on the election interference, in which the assessment of the document was added as an annex. We have time and time again just information, emails, obviously emails in writing, but there is this long paper trail of them using the Steele dossier. Now, it's funny because people like John Brennan and all the Democrats who are now being targeted say that President Trump is the one weaponizing the justice system. They say that he's weaponizing this to target his political enemies. Well, number one, if you're going to weaponize something, you have to fabricate information. Who's the one fabricating information? The Steele dossier was fabricated. It was bought and paid for, and it was fake, and they used that. In regards to all of these cases, name one instance where President Trump has fabricated information to go after one of his supposed political enemies. Seriously, just name one. Can you think of a single example in which anyone in the Trump administration has made up evidence against anyone? No, this evidence comes from their own words, their own emails, the own breadcrumbs that they left behind them. That's number one. Number two, in order to weaponize the justice system, you actually have to start breaking the rule of law. When has Trump done that? Compare that to when they targeted Trump. What did they do in New York? Oh yeah, they rewrote the law because those accusations against him, which by the way, had so many plot holes. I've talked about that in the past, so I'm not going to relitigate all of that here, but that is one of the easiest cases. The statute of limitations in New York had passed, and they rewrote the laws so they could go after Trump. Again, where's a single situation where Trump is bending the law, breaking the law, rewriting the law to go after any of his political enemies? It's not happening. So for all this talk about, the weaponized Justice Department, I personally just don't see it. As always, though, all of this is just my analysis and commentary. That's what's happening in the world of politics from my point of view, and I would love to hear from you. So personally, I do believe John Brennan is worried. I think he's panicked, and I believe that that's why he is so quick to anger. So what do you think? Do you think John Brennan is actually feeling the heat? And, that anger is just a manifestation of the heat that he's feeling? Or do you think that he's just an angry person, he has some issues, and hey, he would be angry anyways? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Personally, look, if I were a CIA director, and as an actor, it's my job to try to put myself in the shoes of people I can't relate to otherwise, right? I'd imagine at that level, you hear so much stuff that's just crazy, or people who are beneath you, not worth your time. And don't take that the wrong way. You know what I mean. If someone came to me with an outrageous accusation, I would just ignore it. Who cares? If someone came up to me and said, Daniel, you robbed a store down the street, I wouldn't be pointing my finger in his chest and being angry. I might just ignore him because I'd be like, okay, that's ridiculous. Now, if they kept pestering me, that might be different. Or if I was on the news, of course, I'd go out to defend myself, or you know what I'm saying. If you really didn't do something, his reaction in both of these situations tells me something's off. Something is really hitting close to home. And, well, I hope the DOJ, I hope they do their job. And I hope if they're able to prove a case beyond a shadow of a doubt, I hope that they do. Some exciting news that I got this morning. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you know that I play piano, and you know that I was entering 2 separate competitions. In the first competition, I did not make the finals because I exceeded the time limit, but in the second competition, I am one of the finalists. I am so excited. We will be competing to play with the Philharmonic on November 15. Now, they haven't announced how many finalists there are, but based on the time and the length of each of our pieces, I imagine it's around 10 to 15 of us. So out of 400 submissions, I'm definitely within the top 10 to 15, and there will be 2 of us who win and get to play with the Philharmonic. So crossed fingers, it'll be here before we know it. If you haven't already, please be sure to smash that I'm not going to pretend. You know what to do. If you enjoyed this, I'll hopefully see you around. Check out one of these videos.